If it hurts, you ain't afraid, smoke against you, know it up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our leading our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the games after this win it. Press you again, we're for the first minute. Carry the body, keep it there for 6 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Put that on that beat.
Mark Stoops is 2-9 against this team, and to walk around this place before the game, I was disgusted. The smugness of those guys just walking around like, we're going to walk in here, we're going to kick your ass, and you can't do anything about it. And it made me sick. And you know what? They did it. They still did it. What the hell can we not? Can we just beat this team? I know that Mark Stoops has done a lot of good things. This is his one really bad thing. The stupid stat about beating teams with a winning record and taking the next step and blah blah. Just freaking beat Tennessee, please. Can we just stop losing to this stupid team with their stupid orange color, their stupid.
Make the decision. You're either a Vol or you're not, through thick and thin.
Another shot, she'll love me again.
Run that back, turbo.
Make it a double.
Whiskey, whiskey, won't you go away? Come again some other day. Cause a memory came out to play. And I'm tired of it, tired of it. I don't wanna wonder where she been.
Where she at?
She was here, now she gone again. Now it's me and all my whiskey friends. And I'm tired of it, tired of it.
Yeah, dark brown skin, caught eye contact while walking in. Perfect timing, get beside me, now we locking in. She like, tell me how you want it, on the rocks again. Little salt around the rim, okay. Feel to the top again. Fell back, now I'm back in it. Deal shots got me sending. Big rapper DJ ain't skinny. Playing Richard Mille square bending. See me in the club, two-stepping. Diamonds around my neck, square dancing. You done made a gangster romantic. Fiending for your love, I'm an addict. So addicted, ain't no we can do about it. Country motherfucker, I say what's up, she say howdy. Call you my little cowgirl, how you ride it like a stallion. Don't know why I love it, can't get tired of it. I'm on you bad.
Whiskey, whiskey, won't you go away? Come again some other day. Cause a memory came out to play. And I'm tired of it, tired of it. I don't wanna wonder where she been.
Where she at?
She was here, now she gone again. Now it's me and all my whiskey friends. And I'm tired of it, tired of it. Put you up and hide you on the shelf, I swear I'm through with you. You so hard to leave it alone, it's always something new with you. Ain't nowhere to get her gone. So I guess I'm gonna tie one on. She's so cold I had to go and pour you over.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. He's Coach Jay. That song is dedicated. Let's treat it like 96.8 WQTR Tri-Cities region. We're down here at Chevrolet Dodge Nissan. Got a brand new Cadillac for sale. That song was dedicated by Coach Jay to Reed Bacon. We know that Reed is a diehard, passionate Morgan Wallen fan, so we wanted to play that for you. Did you know? I just looked out of curiosity. Sometimes I hate that I love music. You know I love music. We love music. Tuesday night, EA Sports College Football Streams. A big part of that is music. We've been demonetized for 6 straight live streams because I love music that much. But hey, it's worth it. It is worth it. Coach Jay, what's going on? It feels like it's been, 2 days since we've done this together.
It's been a long time. Feeling good. Having a little bit of coffee. Trying to debate what I want to put in my breakfast burrito this morning. Do I want bacon? Do I want sausage? Do I want chorizo? I don't know, man. I'm debating in the back of my mind, but I'm also thinking about beating the bejesus out of Kentucky. So we'll get into it, man.
I like it. Come on in. It is Kentucky week. We are Kentucky's daddy. We're going to talk about it. We're going to make our official predictions. Coach Rice, where we called the audible on Wednesday, he's going to make his prediction later today in the game day breakdown video. That'll be coming up sometime this afternoon. Let's catch up with you guys in the chat. Let's see who's hanging out. Let's see who is in the chat. Chase Tidwell is here. He says, how we doing on this Friday morning? Well, I'm doing great. Coach Jay looks a little chilly out there in California. I asked him if it had dropped down into the 70s, so he had to break out the toboggan to make sure he could make it. Toboggan or beanie? What do you call it in California?
Beanie.
Oh, it's a toboggan.
Definitely a beanie. Definitely a beanie. Yeah, a brisk 46 this morning, as I said. A brisk California 46. So
46 there, 80 degrees here. I don't get it. Little clouds in the house. What's up, my friend? Tony Summerall. Tony. Gold jacket, green jacket. Marcus Rush is here dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, vintage creative. I think that's Crystal. I always get it confused. There's two random business names, and I never know which one is Crystal. Noah is in the house. What is up, Noah? Negaval is here, our newest newlywed. Congratulations to the Negaval family. Zebulon, it's a new month. We got a new leaderboard. Zebulon drops a 10 spot. That's now the biggest donation of the month. We appreciate you. It's a damn shame our defense doesn't get to rough up Gerald tomorrow night. Take it out on the rest of Kentucky, I guess. GBO. Surprised about that? I mean, I'm pretty sure we called that back during the offseason that he was not going to play in this game.
Yeah, zero surprised. Would you? I mean, you're just going to get whooped, man. And it's going to happen in lines, too. It's going to be Pierce whooping you, then Joseph's whooping you, and then Jason Jenkins whooping you, and all of a sudden you look terrible. What do we call that? A varsity injury? A varsity injury. I don't want to get embarrassed, so my hamstring hurts, Coach.
Yeah.
We see you, Gerald. We see your varsity injury, buddy.
Well, I mean, if Pierce is going to whip him and Josephs is going to whip him, I may even whip him. If you watched Locked On VAWLS this morning, I challenged him to a fist fight outside Gate 10 at Neyland Stadium. We will see if Gerald responds, because you know that's going to get clipped and be all over the internet. I hope so. Billy Todd for 2 says, Dorfy, shout out, Billy. We appreciate you, brother. VAWLS Girls in the house for 10. Says, Mincy blocks like a girl, GBO. Now, see, if you or I said that, we would be canceled. But because VAWLS Girl is VAWLS Girl, I think VAWLS Girl can say that, so we will allow it. I'll agree. Mincy does block like a girl. Thank you, VAWLS Girl. Michael Holt for 5. Dorfy paid. We are Kentucky's daddy, and it's time to beat them like a blue-haired stepchildren. Blue-haired stepchildren. I'll allow it. Let's beat them like blue-haired stepchildren. What is this? Like, what does this game mean to you? That's what Kaner asked me on Locked On VAWLS. And I'm just curious, because we're the same age, if you respond the same way that I responded. Rivalry game, battle for the beer barrel, border battle, whatever they want to call it. What does the Kentucky game even mean to you?
I think it usually means an easy win is what I like to think. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but growing up, when we grew up, that's what we expected. So when we did have a couple falters there, it was a clear indication, I think, for a lot of us of where the program was and how far we had fallen. Because look, when Tennessee football is right, or shoot, even at halfway right, we should be beating Kentucky every day of the week easily. Kind of how I look at them.
I think we probably look at them the way Alabama looked at us for 15 years, right? And that or even like Florida, the way Florida looked at us, because there were times that Kentucky should have beat Tennessee, but Tennessee always found a way to win because we were Kentucky's daddy. And it's just, I don't even look at it as a rivalry. And again, I'll just regurgitate Locked On VAWLS because it was a good question. If they go to 9-3 and you have 3 regular SEC rivals that are on your schedule every single year, who would your 3 be? Who would your 3 rivals be that you wanted locked in on the schedule every year?
I guess Florida, Alabama. Shoot, man. It's like everyone wants Vandy on it, but I don't give a crap about Vandy, man. I want someone good, man. I want Georgia. I want good things again.
That's
I do.
Exactly
I know
what I said, and he ripped me to shreds.
I didn't hear it. I do though. I want big things for this team. I said it weeks ago. I haven't changed my opinions. I've said that even with the struggles of the offense. I think it's okay for Vol fans to want more out of this team. I think Josh Heupel's brought that expectation here, and I think that's okay. I think we need to embrace that. If you're going to be a team that belongs, you need to go out there and play the best teams every year.
See, that is exactly where my mind went. I said immediately, give me Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Those are the three that I want on the schedule. And he's like, are you crazy? He's like, what about Kentucky and Vanderbilt? And his selling point was Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. And I'm like, well, I mean, scheduling wise, yeah, that sets you up nice, but it's I'm like Rocky Top Tom in the chat there saying Vandy isn't a rivalry either, not for more than 80 years. But then I get it, right? It's the in-state school, and I get it with Kentucky. It's like one of the longest rivalries in the SEC. I want competitive football. Alabama, Georgia, and Florida.
Yep.
Donovan's in the house. What's up, brother? Drops a $5 super chat. Bye week is so tough because Nico the GOAT ain't on TV. D Samp should be Heisman race. Got to keep beating that drum. Gerald Mincy is a coward, period. I agree with everything Donovan just said. I even said the word coward. That's what I called Gerald when I challenged him to a fist fight. Look, we got a little recruiting to talk about, man. Yesterday, we added a wide receiver in the class of 26. We added a linebacker in the class of 25. A lot of people went into panic mode because it's a 3-star linebacker, and they said, does this mean that we're not getting Christian Gass? There's rumors that Christian Gass could flip. I don't think that's the case. VolQuest have been reporting all along that Tennessee wanted to take another linebacker with or without Christian Gass. So I think this is just another guy that they wanted to add to the boat. But you can see the profile on the screen there. Brendan Ains, 3-star linebacker out of Franklin, Tennessee. I found this over at VolQuest. Actually, I found this on 247 Sports. He committed to Wisconsin back in January. He unofficially visited for the Florida game. We've been talking a lot about environment, the Florida game, the Bama game, even the Kentucky game coming up tomorrow night, dark mode, night game. It's going to be a great environment for recruiting. But I found this from 247 Sports. This is from his high school coach. In high school, currently playing outside linebacker, but likely to play inside at Tennessee. This is what his high school coach said. Said he's a very intense player, very physical player. Got really, really good size, every bit of 6'2.5", 6'3", runs extremely well. He's a 4'6", 40 guy, somewhere around there. Also very smart. I said, I think at the next level, they'll probably move him inside because he's such a downhill player. He can also cover. So for us, he plays that outside position, and he had to learn that as he had never played it before. Goes on to say he's always had really good instincts for the drop, pass type stuff. His big learning curve was setting the edge. He had never really set the edge and turned plays back up inside. Kind of really done a great job figuring that out and mastered that. So, yeah, he's picked that up really, really fast. I know you said you watched some tape. I'm going to actually pull up the highlights here and let him roll. You can just kind of just talk about him, what you saw when you watched the film.
Yeah, so for me, when I watch this film, I really like this kid's film. He's like a DB, a corner or a star player in a linebacker's body with a linebacker's aggression, a linebacker's physicality, but can do it all from the secondary position, comes off the edge with a really good aggression. I mean, reminds you a little bit of T-Lander with some of his hits. He'll suplex you. He'll power bomb you. He's got a little nasty to him. But a kid you can line up and blitz, a kid you can feel 100% confident in when you put him in coverage, can lock down a running back out of the backfield, can stick on a slot, not in all patterns, but in a lot of those slot patterns, like a whip route, a quick slant, that kind of thing he's going to cover just fine. That play right there, Boogie, I don't know if you can rewind that really quick, just that last play. If you could, I'd like to talk about that. Pause real quick. So the single wing, right? Bunch trips to the left side of your screen. And this is a play the Vols often get caught on against Florida. This is the play, if you remember the late run play against Arkansas that kind of set them up to where they're going to be in field position in Tennessee, let them score. James Pierce got sucked inside a little bit on that play, and maybe was the only play all year he's looked bad against the run. Now, when you're a linebacker and you need to squeeze down an edge, right, you need to occupy that space with violence. And I always talk about occupying that edge violently, not just sitting in a run fill gap, but occupying it violently. Now, watch the hit he places when he comes and sets this edge. I mean, this is not a, hey, I'm just here to take up space. This is I'm here to punch you in the mouth and then I'm going to murder your player with the ball, because that's what I do. That's my business. That's my job as a linebacker. Obviously, out there in space comfortably, comes for a blitz, boom, sets that edge, makes the play. That is exactly what you want. You couldn't teach that any better at all. That was absolutely beautiful. A1 plus. Pop. Man, whenever you're a linebacker and you're defeating 2 blocks, you're doing your job. If you're defeating 1, you're doing your job. This kid constantly gets through blocks, makes play. Just a tough kid, a bite down kind of kid, a smart kind of kid. You could compare his football IQ to someone like a Will Brooks. He's always going to be at the right place at the right time. High football IQ. I'll tell you what, this kid's a 3-star, but he's got wheels. He's got speed. He's really, really fast in the first 10 yards, which is what you want out of any linebacker too. Man, I think the evaluation of this staff is dead on with this kid. I think this kid's a baller, and I think he needs to grow, but I think the sky's also the limit for this kid, to be honest.
What do you think? Just going to take it down a weird road here, but because I think it's interesting from a guy that's coached high school football, a guy that's coached linebackers in high school football, a guy that's coached defense in high school football. Your job as a coach is to win football games, right? But your job as a coach is also to set your guys up for success. How hard is it to say, hey, you're going to go play outside linebacker because that benefits our team, even though your future, your shot at the NFL, your shot at the league is probably going to be an inside linebacker, but hey, we as a team, we need you to play outside linebacker. And of course, I mean, you're a teammate. You're going to go do what your coaches ask you to do. But what is that? Is it that difficult development-wise to learn the outside linebacker position, play that all throughout high school, then get to Knoxville? It's like, all right, now we got to relearn the inside.
So I think that's going to benefit him. And if I were his coach, that's what I would kind of talk to him. The way he's sliding from that edge outside linebacker to the inside, I think will benefit him, because the inside linebackers nowadays in the college level are being asked to cover the pass so much more often, and they really have to be apt in it. I mean, you saw how much it hurt us last year when you have linebackers that couldn't cover people in space. It was a huge problem, and of course you see how beneficial it is this year. When you have Arian Carter out there in space, redirecting, squatting down, getting picks against Florida. I think this is a sell that you could do. However, if it is a sell that's hard on a kid, you do feel a little bit bad about it, especially when they have a career in front of them. And there is a little bit of a balance in, how competitive you feel that team is, and weighing it against the kid's future. There definitely is a little bit of a balancing act there at times, or has been for me.
And like even comparing it, like I think it might have been somebody brought up a good question that asked Kyler on Wednesday night about John Campbell moving from the left side to the right side, and that shows what a great teammate he is, right? When John Campbell sits down with NFL management and they're asking him questions, or they're asking Coach Heupel, they're asking what kind of teammate he is. What a selling point to say, well, he said he would rather move from left to right because we had an opportunity to go land Lance Hurd. Meanwhile, Lance Hurd, you're meeting with them, and it's like, well, he demanded to play left tackle, so we had to move our starting left tackle to right tackle. Then he allegedly set out because he didn't want to put bad take. Like, all that stuff that shows you're a good teammate goes a long way. Sean Cross is in the house. I see you, Sean. He dropped 1 penny more. He said, oh, Boogie, there's a fresh leaderboard for the month of November. I'll drop 1 penny more, and I'll take that top donation for the month. Shout out, Sean Cross, running late. Good morning, Vol Nation. Sean must be recovering from that beating I put on him Tuesday night. So that's why he's struggling. He's rolling in late. But we appreciate you, Sean. Thank you for the super chat. Added another commitment in the class of 26. And I'm just going to pull up the class of 26, and I know it is early. We got a long way to go, but right now Tennessee's already got 5 kids committed in the class of 26. The number 1 overall player in the country, according to 247 Sports. 5-star quarterback Faison Brandon. You just added Tyreek King yesterday, a 4-star wide receiver, a top 150 guy. Carson Sneed is an on 300 guy. Brandon Anderson on 300 guys. So you've got 5 guys that are in the boat this early. And 4 of those 5 guys are in the on 300. And I get it. I know what people are going to say. It's early, but dang it, Coach Jay, this can set you up for a good run in that class of 26.
Heck yeah, man. I think when Faison jumped in, Coach Rice, all of us were kind of saying, this sets the plate. You can go after a top 2 class easy. It maybe I shouldn't say easy. You're gonna have to work for it, but it's right there in front of you, right? You've got the bare bones to build around, and there's no excuse for not putting a good one together. The product's good on the field right now, barring a complete collapse. But yeah, man, they got to go get it. It's right in front of them. Keep stacking these classes. We already see this depth paying off. Look at the D line. Look at the linebackers taking hits, still withstanding, playing good football. Running backs taking injury, building a little bit of depth, albeit it's not like 5-star high tier elite depth at that position group, but it's solid, good football players all around for Tennessee. Got a couple groups that are a little younger, not quite as long in the tooth like offensive line, but keep building it, man. We can all see it growing, and eventually that day will come where we're deep at every position, and when that happens, sky's the limit.
This was the first commitment yesterday. And again, class of 2026, 4-star wide receiver Tyreek King, 6 foot 170. Not only an in-state kid, but a Knoxville kid out of Knoxville Catholic. Again, top 150 guy, according to the industry rankings. On3's really high on him. And I still value 247 Sports. ESPN and Rivals mean absolutely nothing to me. But 247 Sports I do value, but it's also early in the cycle. It's early, these kids are in the middle of their junior season. So these rankings are going to shift, but On3 really high has him as the 60th overall player in the country. He had a who's who list, right? I mean, his offer list, Alabama, his top 8 was Alabama, Louisville, LSU, Michigan, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. Again, being a Knoxville kid, I think he had taken 6 visits prior to the season, and then he was here for the Kent State game, and then once again, he was here for that Alabama game. VolQuest had his coach also give kind of a little rundown, said when anybody plays normal against him, he's unguardable because he is in and out of his break so explosively. Let's see. He says he is really dedicated to being a perfectionist in running routes. I love that, man. If you perfect your craft of running routes like speed, I get it. You can't teach speed, but if you run crisp routes, it just makes you even faster. It just gives you advantage. We talk all the time on here about playing corner is probably the most difficult position on the field, trying to shadow a guy that he knows where he's going and you don't. And when you run crisp routes, that makes you even better. Says that is what he hangs everything on, wants to be perfect as a route runner. He hasn't gotten there yet. Plenty of things he can get better at. He is getting doubled so much. So he has got to get better at that, but that is what drives him as being a perfectionist at running routes. He is precise, exclusive route runner until he gets all the gimmicks, which ends up happening every week, unfortunately. He is so one-step explosive, more so than any kid I've ever coached, to be honest with you, with his one-step explosiveness or suddenness. I kind of have not seen anything like him playing receiver, and across the state, we have seen some really good ones. Going to do the same thing here with Tyreek. We're going to pull up his film, and then, Coach, I know you watched some, so just give us your overall thoughts on the wide receiver out of Knoxville Catholic.
Yeah, I think head coach did a good job. A kid that goes from 0 to 60 immediately. Got all the little tricks in his bag as far as, throwing a juke. You see him right there, right? Just one step. Has all the moves out of the block too. Hezzy switch, hezzy pull, hezzy cross, hezzy to whip route. All those little fun toys. You see him get off the block here, just slows down his step for a minute. The change of speed, the ability to throw a fastball, throw a change up, throw a curveball with your feet, as wide receivers like to say. It is amazing to be able to do. And I agree with Coach. Just he makes it look easy out there on the football field. Obviously, I don't know what division he plays in.
Look like middle school kids right there on that play.
Yeah, they look like middle. He's just got elite. What do they always say about speed, Boogie? Right? You can't teach it. This kid's got it. So the fact that he hones his craft, you can see he runs crisp routes. Are they perfect? Like Coach said, no, not yet. But just finds that soft spot in that zone a little bit right there. Simple cover 2 man, finds a simple little zone in it with a clean route. Nicely done. No wasted steps. Pushes off and goes. Changes direction, never stops. Nothing but good things to say about this kid. I see why On3 is extremely high on him. You put him in a phone booth, he's going to make you miss. Beating that kid around that edge was just silly right there. But
I love, like
yeah,
he talks about route
impressive.
running. They also just get the ball to him. Like, just something quick, get him the ball, because he makes it, like, well, just watch him make plays.
Yeah.
Like,
Now you're not going to be able to like run completely sideways like that in college.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
but
But his ability to make guys miss.
Yeah. I think Reggie Bush might have been the only person I've ever really seen do that in the college
At
level.
college.
Where they're just straight running sideways on people, like Bryce Brown in high school did, like in every play on his film, and you're just like, geez Louise, this kid's crazy. But he's got that special kind of speed though, where you can start to say, hey, his high school film, at least, he's doing some of those dumb things Bryce Brown did. He's doing some of those dumb things Reggie Bush did, or that certain speed. One thing I'll say is we saw him on the outside a lot there. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him slide in the slot, though. Not one single bit, with how good he is in a phone booth and how quick he is and how precise his route running is really indicative of what you want in a slot wide receiver.
Rizzy drops a $5 super chat, says his head coach Shadowins was my coach at William Blunt. This kid will be special. Thank you for the super chat. That's a cool connection there, that he coached you at William Blunt. Brad drops a 20 spot. Brad said, you know what, Sean, I don't care about your $9.99. Brad is can I say this on a Friday morning? He's an attention whore. He likes attention. He likes to be on the leaderboard. He likes to always one up somebody. If they drop a $19.99 super chat, he's going to drop 20. They drop 21, he's going to drop 22, because he loves seeing his name. He loves to hear himself talk. He always wants to be on the leaderboard, but I guess I'll play the clip for Brad.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Brad says GBO, last regular season game for my son tonight, and then dark mode in Knoxville tomorrow night, LFG. Well, good luck to your son. Hope he finishes things off strong, and I hope his recruitment continues to grow. Is he a junior, Brad? I can't remember. I think he's a junior.
Big kid, I'll tell you that much. Yeah. Got to meet him at the Alabama game. Good-looking big kid. His buddy, big kid too, man. I was like, shoot, I want to play running back behind this offensive line. I'll take that all day, every day, man. That was looking good. I think
he's a junior, but I can't remember. But excited to see where his future goes as a prospect. Tyler Maxwell drops a $2 super chat. Says, "Sup, balls? Isn't it great to be a Vol? God bless GBO." Thank you, Tyler, for the super chat. And it is great to be a Vol. Look what we do. We always call an audible Friday mornings. We're going to watch the Heupel press conference. It's a bye week, so I'm interested to see what he has to say. Could be a whole lot of coach speak. Could be a whole lot of nothing. But that's what we're going to do. And we'll pause. We'll provide commentary. If you guys got something you want to talk about, you know what to do in the chat. We will go whatever direction you guys want to go. Good morning, Nelson, in the chat. What's up, my friend? Brad says, yeah, he's a junior. Yeah, that's what I thought. Thought he was a junior. So another full year. All right, let's take a listen to Hype from earlier this week.
Good to see everybody back. Another rivalry game this weekend, night game in Neyland, dark mode. Looking forward to going and playing in this one. So need our crowd to be a huge part of the football game. And this week we got to continue our preparation as a football team, get ready to go play our best football. And, you look at Kentucky, it's a group that, defensively is playing extremely well. You can just look at them statistically. Defensively, we got to do a good job, follow the formations, motions, and, control the line of scrimmage. Quarterback run game being a part of that as well. And for our special teams, they got a dynamic returner that can change the game, and got to do a great job against him. So open it up.
I'm not worried about the quarterback run game at all. This defense has shown that
does
they're
it
going to
help
shut it down.
The fact that
you're
a few
muted,
weeks
by the
ago
way.
with Florida, you were kind of preparing for two quarterbacks. We played two, Saturday night that are different top players. Does that help when your kids have seen something similar just a few weeks ago?
Well, I think defensively, you always got to know who the number two is, and have a plan for him. It can be through injury or them playing multiple guys. Your defense players need to understand, what type of player that is. Certainly for them, quarterback run game is always a part of it. Second half of last week, played the younger kid, and you know, for us, we got to do a great job of controlling the quarterback run game. That's a huge part of it, and understanding, you know, this game. You know, there's limited opportunities, and I'm just talking about possessions during the course of the game. You know, all three phases got to play that well together. For us, within the scope of what we're doing schematically, you got to play assignment sound. You got to rally. You got to go make tackles in space. And certainly, when it's quarterback run game, your eyes, your keys, got to take you to making those plays.
Yeah, there is one thing I'll touch on real quick is I do think that, you know, the past when the backup for Kentucky has gotten a little action, it's been like Kentucky's grasping at straws, right? Because Vandegrift's just not getting it done. The offense is struggling. I do expect them to have a lot more tailored packages to the backup quarterback, a game plan designed around him at least halfway. I do think we'll see both quarterbacks quite a bit, but I do expect more of a dedicated game plan around the way that kid plays. I think it's kind of obvious the way he plays, and Josh Heupel may be allowing us to read through the lines a little bit with what he's talking about right there.
So you think they're going to play Wimsatt more? Like Wimsatt's a junior. Like Heupel called him the young quarterback. He's a junior. Like I think it's Brock Vandegrift. I think he got benched last week, and it's kind of like, all right, get your head straight type thing. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do roll Wimsatt out there and they go 50-50. Because like you said, usually they bring him in to try to get creative, like a wildcat type deal, run game. But you know, you didn't get Brock Vandegrift to transfer from Georgia to sit on the bench.
I'll tell you what though, if Tennessee's offense can start fast, or let's say this, not fumble after they start fast.
I know, isn't it weird? Isn't it weird?
Yeah,
2 weeks in a row they started fast, really.
Yeah, but also not. So let's say they did, and they jump up 14-0, and James Pierce is living in the backfield and murdering Vandegrift. I mean, you're going to see him. They are going to go right back to insecurity and grasping at straws. And I promise they put in packages for that kid this week, anticipating that to be a reality or something that at least could happen, a contingency at no less than.
I think it's a no-win situation because Vandegrift's better throwing the football. And if you got to go with the mobile guy because you're getting pressure and he's not as good throwing the football, I think that's a win-win. I mean, look at, and I get it, stats don't tell the whole story. Wimsatt's 8 of 20 with 93 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 59.1. That's the guy that you think is going to beat Tennessee if they start fast. You know what I mean? Like, sign me up for that. Sign me up for that.
No, I'm with you. It's not that I think it's a great decision. I just think Kentucky's in a tough spot, right? They're between a rock and a hard place right now, and they're obviously sitting a lot of people too. And you know, not to spoil a video that's going to come out later, but yeah, I think that Tennessee can throw a knockout punch on Kentucky's season this year. Certainly, they're up against the ropes. They're breathing hard.
It's interesting what you just said about the quarterbacks and having packages in place, because you're kind of saying what a lot of other people are saying, but you're just providing the context. I hear a lot of people saying, well, Kentucky's going to be, you know, they're grasping at straws. They're going to try to get creative. They're going to mix things up, but nobody really says what they're talking about. I did hear, I don't even remember where I heard it. Somebody saying flea flickers and all this ignorant stuff, but it's like they're going to throw everything they have at the wall to see if something sticks because they know they are outmatched tomorrow night.
Yeah, and why not? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, look at your record. What are you playing for right now? Wins, right? Playing spoiler, ruining other people's seasons, what you're playing for. If I'm coaching this Kentucky team, I'm trying to get them to play hard, to play spoiler, to have fun, to play loose, not play so tight. Go out there, you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. You're playing with house money in a weird way. As unfortunate as that is, that they've gotten themselves in that situation for them. But yeah, if I'm coaching them, I want to play loose.
They have to go 3-1 in their final 4 games to get bowl eligible. They play at Tennessee tomorrow. They got Murray State, so there's 1 win.
Yep.
And then they've got Texas at Texas. And Louisville will be a favorite in that game too. So they got to go on the road to Tennessee, on the road to Texas, and play Louisville at home as an underdog and somehow find a way to win 2 out of those 3. They're not going bowling. Mark Stoops, and we kind of had this conversation earlier. Mark Stoops, it's weird that people are saying he's on the hot seat because it's like you coach at Kentucky. The expectations should not really be that high, but when you're getting paid $9 million a year, all of a sudden the expectations get high, whether you're at Kentucky or you're at Alabama or Tennessee or Florida or wherever. Did you cut out?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't hear your sentence because it cut out.
It's all good. We'll roll right into Christopher Welch became a member of the channel.
Okay, sorry.
We appreciate you. I was like, Coach Jay never just looks at me like a deer in headlights without a way to answer the question. Really wasn't a question. Just talking about Mark Stoops. People saying he's on the hot seat when he's at Kentucky, but he makes $9 million a year. That's kind of why he's on the hot seat. But we'll jump back into it here with Coach Heupel. I'm reading. There's so many good comments coming in the chat that I'm getting distracted. All right, here we go.
Coach, with an open date, I'm sure you guys went and looked at a ton of stuff. Did you find any common denominators for the first half, like the slow starts in the SEC games?
There's not just one thing. You look a week ago against Alabama, turnovers on a couple of possessions, missed field goals, execution. We've taken sacks in the red zone. It's a combination of all of us being a little bit better, coaches and players together.
There was a couple of weeks where teams were showing you different looks defensively and changing the structure. How much at this point in the season are you still seeing teams do things differently than what they've shown on tape prior to?
There's always subtle changes in every football game. For a couple of weeks there, it was a little more dramatic than usual. Young quarterback having an opportunity to see things throughout. You hear me say it, like he's going to get better with every rep that he takes. And our players having a better understanding of some of that, puts us in a better position to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, Josh, let me ask you a question really quick. I'm curious to get your opinion. Do you get the feeling from this team at all that they have lost faith in Nico or anything like that? Because at least to me, it seems like they're still punching with him. They kind of believe what Heupel just said, hey, he's a freshman, he's fighting through it, he's getting better. We see how talented he is. We practice with him every day. He's going to kind of poke through this. Or do you kind of think maybe some of these drop balls are part of a lack of concentration because they are frustrated? What's your kind of thought process on that?
I think we sit here all off season and we talk about culture, we talk about recruiting, and we mentioned the words family, and those are buzzwords when you're talking about recruiting. We have all these kids come on and talk about how Josh Heupel's different. Anthony Aguimora, saying that Heupel doesn't call and say, who have you talked to today? Did Georgia call? Did Florida call? He calls and says, how's your day going? He talks to mom and dad. He talks to brothers and sisters. He knows them all by name, and that's family and that's culture. And we can preach that and we can talk about it. But then you watch these guys on the field of play. You watch Nico sit down in front of the media postgame after he just got absolutely annihilated because Larry Johnson whiffed on a block, because Dane Davis whiffed on a block. And they say, were you worried back there? And he's like, no, I trust my guys. I'm ride or die. He never bats an eye. And I think you saw it last year in the Connecticut game when Nico threw his first touchdown. That entire sideline cleared the bench to come celebrate with Nico. They have always been with Nico. I think if Nico had been the starter last year, they would have rode with Nico. What do we see when Nico takes a hit, when Nico's down, when Nico got hurt? These linemen pick him up. These linemen go to bat for him. These linemen defend him. I think Josh Heupel has built a real, genuine culture. And I know you asked specifically about Nico, but I think it's across the board for the most part. I think most of these guys, I love Kitzelman post game after the loss, and he dropped that ball, and he's like, I got to make that play. And then Nico's like, I got to make a better throw. It's like they're always standing up for their brothers. And I think so. No, this team, Nico, they believe in Nico. They believe in each other. I think they still think they're going to go win a national championship. I truly believe that this team thinks that.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, once again, man, buzzword for sure, but culture for the win there. I do think this team believes it as well.
Let's see here. Jim Slagle drops a $2 super chat. We appreciate you, Jim. Says, give them no hope. Own. the first half. Like Coach Jay said, and like a lot of people said this week, start fast. And it's so funny because I'm like, they started fast and made one mistake. But talking about one guy not doing his job, one person not doing their job, one mistake. It's like, it doesn't matter that you marched right down the field. You got to finish. And that's, I think, spoiler alert. Start to say like Coach Rice said. Spoiler alert for the video coming later today. Coach Rice said, put your foot on their throat and don't let up. And I think if they do that, Kentucky's going to roll over and play dead. They're going to fold. They're going to quit. I think they're looking to quit. So, yeah, I agree. Own the first half. Own the first drive. Own the first series. I hope Tennessee gets the football first and goes right down the field and scores. I think that would be ideal for this game on Saturday night.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
First playoff rankings come out after this game. You guys are in a log jam of a lot of teams under consideration. People decide that. How do you
He's
make
already
the case
annoyed.
to those people?
Who cares?
Decide whether or not
He's already annoyed. As soon as Adam Sparks speaks, Coach Heupel reacts the way that I do. He just gets annoyed.
Chat. Type in the chat right now. This moment. What is Heupel's inner thought? Like what is Heupel? You know, what does Heupel really want to say right now back to this reporter? Look at that face.
I love it. I love it. Coach Heupel, the college football playoffs come out after this week. What are your thoughts about where you're going to be ranked?
Man, are you stupid? We got to win our games.
Like, I love the reaction on the pause, too. Like, just look at the reaction on the pause. It's like, oh, this guy again. He's like, I bet Boogie's going to hear this and go on an absolute rant on Friday morning. This guy again. Billy Todd says, shut up and go away.
Yeah. Tom said he can't type it.
I wish I had $1 so I could buy a freak to give. Oh, wait, Tommy, I missed Tom. Tom says, I can't type what his inner thoughts are. This is a family show. We appreciate that. Dave says, shut up, you idiot. Robert. Yeah, y'all killing it. Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
Every week.
I love it. Chat's a
playoff team.
Yeah, you make your case by going and controlling what you control, which is your performance on Saturdays, and your preparation takes you there. We're halfway through the conference schedule. There's a ton of football. If you're worried about the end result, you're going to make them mistakes you can't afford on the way to the end. And for us, being present, being in the now, preparing in a great way, continuing to grow as a football team. You guys hear me say it. Players hear me say it. Good teams continue to get better. Our best football is still out in front of us. We got to go chase that.
That good teams get better. You know, I utilize that in my Locked On Vols appearance because Kentucky's going the opposite way, right? It's like, what happened to the Kentucky team that beat South Carolina, a team that's pretty dang good this year? They beat them 31-6, and then they followed it up the next week, or they lost 31-6. Sorry, beat Ole Miss. They almost beat Georgia, like 13-12 against Georgia, and then you go on the road and beat Ole Miss. I got my games mixed up there. You go on the road and you beat Ole Miss, and it's like, where's that Georgia? Like, what happened to that? Good Lord. You see, I'm all
Kentucky,
the pieces now.
Kentucky.
What happened? This is what happens when I make fun of Adam Sparks. The good Lord's like, all right, Boogie, I'm gonna humble you. I'm gonna put you back in your place. But a team that beat Ole Miss on the road, a team that hung right in there with Georgia, and then they dropped 3 straight. And if you look at rushing yards that they're allowing, it has got worse week in and week out. South Carolina, 79, Georgia 102, Ole Miss, and that was a Kentucky win, held them under 100 yards rushing. And then the last 3 weeks, losses 145, 197, and then Auburn ran for 328. Good teams get better. Kentucky is just trending the opposite direction. And I think that's the thing. I think Tennessee is a team that lost early to Arkansas, and now they're slowly getting better. The defense has been rock solid every week, but the offense is slowly getting better, and I think we're trending up and they're trending down. Dang, I made a mess of that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But also, too, I feel like Kentucky's defense it lacks a lot of depth, and it really is starting to take its toll on them, right? The season's starting to get some miles on it, and it's taking a toll on that team. It's not like they're a good defense, but it's not like they were a stunning defense. So they had their moments. They had their on games, their off games. And, now there's some mileage on them. It's hurting them. Their offense never figured out. And guess what? When your offense is struggling, we all know, what does that do to your defense? It means they're on the field a heck of a lot more, right? It means they have to be out there 10 times as much. Well, Tennessee's got the luxury of running 5 different defensive lines that are all Americans out there. Kentucky runs its 3rd team defensive line out there and gives up 300 yards on the ground. That's the difference in the defenses right there.
Which obviously Nico's going to have his opportunity to take some shots against Kentucky tomorrow night, but I think it's a Dylan Sampson game once again. I just think, go ahead.
It's a 3-man front. They're going to drop people back. The dink and dunk is going to be there. As long as we're executing that and opening up holes on the ground, we'll get in the end zone, and eventually Kentucky's going to have to walk a little help up to stop those short passes, to stop Dylan Sampson in the run game. And when they do, that's when, the home run ball will be there.
And you got to hit it. You got to hit it.
And you got to hit it at that moment. Otherwise, you'll grow stagnant in that moment. Correct.
And, man, continue to build momentum. You go out and you connect on some of those against Kentucky. Mississippi State is awful. You're going to have the opportunity to make some plays there. And then roll into that Georgia game with some confidence. Timothy's in the house. He dropped a $2 super chat and said this scheme is hard on the redshirt freshman. Followed that up with a $10 super chat. We appreciate you, Timothy. Says, I think it's the scheme isn't 2 years in the system. Quarterback, I will ride and die on the statement. Less option routes, more timing routes. You don't need 60 when all you need is 8. I don't disagree with that there's times I'm like, why are we throwing down the field on, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6? But then when guys are wide open, it's like
they're open.
It's hard to complain when guys are open, Yep. But Timothy's ride or die with that statement. He is not going to back down. He's never going to back down. We appreciate you, Timothy. All right, let's jump back into it. James says, how do I send an orange boy? You hit that little $sign down there in the chat, and you can send an orange boy.
You've played a lot of offenses that have been playing a lot of multiple tight end stuff. You guys have played more traditional, 4-3 or 3 linebacker groups instead of as much nickel. What do you like about that trio of linebackers, and why have you guys sort of gravitated towards that against multiple tight ends?
There's a lot of different reasons that you can get into your base personnel, and that's what you're facing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, their skill set, how you want to defend the run game, and what you want to play out on the perimeter. We've worked that all through the course of spring ball and training camp, having the flexibility and the opportunity to play different personnel groupings to those personnels that we're seeing from the other side of the football, and they train that way and have executed really well in it.
Yeah, I want more linebackers against more tight ends. It's that simple, especially if a team is more prone to run the football, like Kentucky. If you're a tight end, you're tall, and I'm shorter than you as a linebacker, and I have leverage. If you're a tight end and I'm a linebacker, I'm faster than you. I'm going to beat your spot and blow up your running back. If you're a tight end and you can get hands on me, guess what? Like I said, I'm lower than you. I can dip and rip through you and get past the block. You want linebackers against tight ends in the running game. That's a win matchup every single time for a linebacker almost.
You know what I like is the depth. We got depth. Yep. And we've seen 12 personnel earlier in the year, even though Coach Rice didn't like it. Coach Rice was throwing a fit. What I love is Coach Rice throwing a fit and saying, stay true to who you are. And then it was like 2 weeks later, I don't remember if it was him or somebody on this exact show said, we should have ran more 12 personnel. And it's like, that's hilarious because just 2 weeks ago, Coach Rice was throwing a fit. But the reality is we've got the depth now to run 12 personnel. We've got the depth now on defense to go out there and run a true Boogie Bentley 4-3 type of defense. Because when you go back to when Heupel took over, that's when we had a long snapper, right? I mean, Henry To'oTo'o, your 2 starting linebackers both transferred out. You had a linebacker get kicked off the team. You had a linebacker transfer. You were depleted that first spring when Heupel arrived. It's like you can't. And so many coaches say, well, I'm gonna set up my players for put them in the best position to succeed, or I'm gonna get the ball to the playmakers in space. Are you really, or are you just saying that? And I think Coach Heupel truly adapts his game plan based on his personnel that he has, and that is a beautiful thing for a coach to do. Also, he's willing to make changes, man. He's made changes to this offensive game plan throughout the course of this season. That is a guy that is a true leader and a true coach that is willing to change, adapt, and grow based on what he's presented with.
Yeah, amen to all that, man. He has he's had wrinkles. His defense has had wrinkles. They've adapted on the fly. I know some people have given this coaching staff flack at certain times on being a little stubborn on their halftime adjustments. I do kind of agree that this team likes to kind of do their adjustments in the pre-assessment and in the off season and in practice during the season rather than in flying the game. But I actually think they've shown a knack for doing that at a greater level this year as well. So it's exciting, man. It's exciting when you can play to your strengths. And once again, we're going to keep beating this recruiting thing, this stacking classes thing, this depth thing until it's dead, man. We're going to keep hammering on it because guess what? This depth has allowed you to add another weapon in your arsenal, right? You had your shotgun with your your defensive line, man, right? You got your cornerbacks in, so you got your long range weapons, man. But you keep adding different weapons, and you have different ways to attack what an offense is bringing at you. Or
got a couple of super chats here. Rocky Top Tom. If Tim's going to come in and say less option routes, then Tom's going to come in and yell about the offensive line. He says they're all disciplined games, but this is the kind of game that we win by 50 if we don't commit stupid, unforced, no offensive line penalties just once. You're not wrong, Tom, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now that ain't gonna happen. There will be at least one stupid offensive line penalty that puts this team behind the chains and drives us all mad. That's what this team will do. So get ready for it.
100%. Yep.
James Bright, this is my type of dude right here. James Bright pops in the chat. He says, Boogie, how do I drop an orange boy? I say, James, this is what you do. And he says, Boogie, here's the orange boy. Now play the stupid clip. So we'll play the clip.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Shout out, James. We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate the donation. Now we got to get a power T beside your name. That's the next problem. That's the next step of the process that we've got to get fixed. But we appreciate your support. We appreciate the super chat. We've also got Talkin VAWLS dating going on in the chat right now. Michelle and Dan working out a date. They're going to go down to Dollywood, spend some time together. You never know what's going to happen in the Talkin VAWLS live chat. Does Michelle and Dan, do they find love? I mean, we've already hooked Jenny up. Jenny's got Big Orange Mountain. Like they're in love, and now Michelle and Dan are working on it. Talkin VAWLS, man. Are we matchmakers, Coach Jay? You're muted, bro. You're muted. Like that's going to be a shirt,
bro.
You're muted. That's all it's going to say.
We're basically like I don't know, the Love Connection or whatever dating. What was the old school MTV dating show with like
Singled out. Singled out. Is that when they walked around the thing and singled out?
Yeah. We're showing our age a little bit here, but that's all right.
Now we're starting something. Balls girls like, what about me? All right, any takers? She's even crazy enough to have her picture there. So boys, y'all are out of control. Balls girl just opened up Pandora's box. Good luck with that.
Yeah, Balls girls likes long walks on the beaches, wine in the evening.
No, okay. Well, oh my gosh, what is happening? All right. So Balls girl says, "What about me?" Noah Snell said, "Sign me up." We are off to the races, Coach Jay. What is happening around here?
Talking romance.
Talking romance. Oh my gosh. Can somebody? Oh, we're gonna turn this into a Tuesday night.
I love it.
What is happening? What is happening?
It's what happens when it's Kentucky week. We get left to our devices and we're distracted.
I'm about to take it to another level. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. Should I do it on a Friday? Should I do it? I mean, should I do it on a Friday, Coach Jay? Should I do it? Should I do it on a Friday morning?
All gas, no breaks, man. Let's go.
You come in to Talkin VAWLS on a Friday morning, and you think you're going to get a little Tennessee football talk. You think we're going to talk about Kentucky? You think we're going to talk about Gerald Mincey? And maybe we are. Maybe we are, because you see, Gerald Mincey transferred to Tennessee when we needed a tackle. And I thought Gerald Mincey was a pretty good player. A lot of people didn't know that Gerald Mincey was playing hurt last year. But he went out there and he gave his all. And I thought, well, Jay, this must have been love. But guess what, folks? It's over now. It's over. He left us in the dust. And now he's too scared to come back when we're about to marry the next one. We're about to get engaged to Lance Hurd. Gerald Mincy can't come back and say congratulations. I thought it was love.
It must have been.
What just happened on a Tuesday?
Poor Gerald. Poor Gerald.
We're back to Tuesday.
Poor Gerald.
All right. Can we snap and clear what just happened? Timothy for 5 says, how about that freshman quarterback from Nashville at Texas A&M, Mike Elko, is a style of offensive scheme I've been talking about the past 2 years. Timothy, I love you. You don't have to. He always drops the $2 super chat to correct his typos. It's all right. We knew who you were talking about. Look, I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying and where you're coming from. And this is after I just said, I appreciate that Coach Heupel's willing to change and adapt, but I don't think Josh Heupel's going to change his offense. Like, this offense works. No. It's proven to work. It's execution, man. It's execution. Nico's got to make the throws. Wide receivers got to make the catches. Offensive lineman got to block. It's that simple.
Yep. Agree 100%. Oh, by the way, little early play, Coach J, money line +3, South Carolina at home. Take it. Upset coming your way. A&M falls this week.
Yeah, we are so off the rails. I'm like, I completely forgot about the gambling portion of the show, and we're an hour in. Aaron Duck for 10 says, bye, in sync for Gerald. Shit, we're not turning this into DJ Boogie's up for Tuesday nights. I have set you guys up for disappointment. We should probably play some love songs on Tuesday night for the Talkin VAWLS Love Connection show. Shout out, Aaron. Appreciate the super chat.
We have our theme. We have our theme.
All right, let's go. Let's get back to this. Coach Heupel, can you get us back on track, please?
I'm sure it's never perfect, but just how high of a level do you think Jermon McCoy is playing for you right now?
Yeah, it is never perfect. You're chasing it every day, but he's playing really good football, playing with great discipline at the line of scrimmage, and his press technique. He's got the athletic traits to recover when it's not perfect at the line of scrimmage. He's doing a great job of playing the 50-50 ball, back shoulder fades or vertically all the way down the football field. That comes from his maturity, his fundamentals and technique, and, competitive composure at the end of the play.
Going off of that, what has allowed Jermon to have this, transition just so early on and be making this big of an impact?
I think it just starts with his maturity as a person. Coming out of high school, what he did before he got on the field, and 3 months at the previous stop. Changing his body. A guy that was recruited to play some wide receiver, flips over to the other side of the football. He's a sponge as far as soaking up information inside the meeting room. Extremely bright. It's not like you're restarting every single day. He's able to grow upon what happened the previous day on the field or in the meeting room, incorporate those things into his game. He's got all the athletic traits that you want. But again, his maturity is a huge factor in why he's playing the way that he is.
Yeah, so McCoy, right? Here's the thing. 3-star you, right? 3-star kid out of Texas. I'll tell you what. Everyone, you want to do yourself a favor, go watch that kid's high school tape and then ask yourself, how in God's green earth is this kid a 3-star? Because I watched that kid's high school film and I watched it and had nothing but 5-star written all over it. So I don't know what the heck the scouts were doing on that one. I don't know if it's because it was a smaller division within Texas. It's about the only thing I could come up with, because everything in that kid's high school film said 5-star. Everything he did at Oregon State said 5-star. And y'all know what he's been putting on his resume since he's been here on Rocky Top.
Shout out to Dakota in the chat, gifted a Talkin VAWLS membership. Clarko. I bet Clarko is a lurker. And Dakota just exposed him. Shout out, Dakota. We appreciate those gifted Talkin VAWLS memberships. If you're not a member, you can hit that join button, do so for just $1 a month. We need your support. Like, we need it big time, particularly as we head into the off season. And we've already got 5 commits in the class of 26. I told Kaner, I said, I don't know what I'm going to talk about this summer. The entire class is going to be full, and I guess I'll just take the summer off. And I guess the bank will foreclose on everything, and we'll call it quits here on Talkin VAWLS, because Josh Heupel is recruiting at an elite level right now. But we need those memberships. So think about hitting that join button. We would appreciate it.
I'm curious, when you have a second open date like this, is I know you go to get better.
Shout out
every day,
Ethan
and
Leonard
guys
for
are
being a
improving
member
every
for
day, but can a
14 months.
young
Appreciate you,
guy
brother.
or someone who's not played a lot really make hay, so to speak, during an open date and really change kind of the course of how much he can help you? Or at this point in the season, is that a little bit unfair, unrealistic?
No, I made the point to our football team the Monday after, the last football game that how you prepare, it's not just during bye week, how you practice. Like you keep the immediate gratification result doesn't come after one practice. Like you just keep stacking days and good things inevitably happen. And there's great examples of that, on our football team during the course of the season. And so every player, not just young players, continuing to invest and improve is really critical. And you start showcasing those things, being consistent on the practice field, and it will translate over to game day. And that's the challenge for all of us.
Yeah. Let me get another gifted Talkin VAWLS membership. Who did Dakota expose now? Twitchy Train, another name that I don't recognize. Is that another lurker exposed? Dakota is going to expose all the lurkers, and guess what? They're going to become part of the family, and they're going to jump in the chat, and we're going to hang out. I'm a lurker too. I'm a lurker on all the YouTube channels I watch. So I get it, lurkers, but come be a part of the family. Come be a part of the conversation. How do you take time in a bye week and balance game plan versus development of younger talent? How do you divide that up? You're muted.
I mean,
it's going to be a shirt that says you're muted with your emoji on
dude, can we please get that, get on that right away? So I think the first week of the bye, you can, up their reps 20%, 30%, and then ramp it right back up. But hey, man, you're in crunch time. Team's got to get better right now. Young guys will have time to grow. They get to grow on scout team and things like that are kind of unseen too. But yeah, give them a little extra time in the first week, and then second week, right back to business.
And the whole time, the coaching staff is watching tape and game planning. And I like Heupel coming off the bye. I know the Arkansas game was coming off of a bye, but I like Josh Heupel off the bye week. I think that's going to be an advantage again.
Sticking with that one, Mike Matthews, is that a guy that is building towards maybe a bigger role on the back end of the season?
Yeah, Mike's got some opportunities. Feel like there's a greater opportunity for execution at times when he's out there. Some of that's the guys around him. Some of that's him too. We need him to continue to come on and be a big part of what we're doing here, on the back half of this conference season.
Where are you at in terms of competition on the offensive line? Are there any young players that are threatening for playing time or made enough improvements to where they could be trusted in games?
Want to see those guys continue to improve, and that's in our team setting. Some of it's in pass rush against defensive line. Those guys are in a race to be ready to play.
Good question, but I'm not answering it.
Played a lot of guys on the defense.
Yeah. That was a good question. I'm like, all right, he's no way he's going to touch this question. But the offensive line next year is a huge question mark, huge. And I think they're going to have to go to the portal. I just think they're going to have to when you look at the depth. And I know they said, they were happy with some of the young guys, and that's encouraging, right? But you're replacing pretty much everybody outside of Lance Hurd. So you're going to have Lance Hurd. William Satterwhite, I think, is probably going to lock down that center position. DeSham, I think he takes a guard, and you called that. You like the way he looked in fall camp, spring camp at guard. I think he takes one of those positions. But do you ultimately end up in the portal looking for another guard and also a tackle, or does David Sanders come in? How hard is it for David Sanders to be ready to go as a true freshman?
It's hard. We've talked about it before on here. Everyone does. The trenches is big boy football in the Southeastern Conference. So to ask anyone to step in and do it is a mission. Now, David is well equipped for that. He's got speed, power. He's got the you can't teach it, man. I think I told you when I was at the Alabama game, I was sitting in R. So I was kind of like all the way across from the recruits. But even though all the way across Neyland Stadium, David Sanders stuck out like a sore thumb. He's an NFL tackle body, and they don't make a lot of those. Not a lot of molds go out for those kids. So if anyone can do it, he can do it. But I think based on how many guys they pull out of the transfer portal, will give you the true answer to that question, right? How good do they actually feel about it? I think they grabbed some kids no matter what, but how many do they grab, I think will be quite telling to how they actually feel.
Yeah, and like always, right? It depends on who shows up. I think it's pretty obvious they wanted a running back in the portal this past cycle, and the reason I say that is because they kept talking to kids and they offered a couple of kids and they brought them on campus, but they never got the right fit to pull the trigger. So you got to see who's available. Are they a culture fit? And we can get mad when these big time prospects go in and we're like, drop the bag, drop the bag, drop the bag. You can't get mad at that and then turn around and praise Coach Heupel for the culture, right? You can't, you can't do that because you got to trust Heupel is truly bringing in guys that fit the culture that he's created.
Offensive line really throughout your tenure, even this year, you guys are going 10, 12 deep in games. How do you get kind of a buy-in from a group like that to maybe those guys would probably like to play more individually, but collectively it's benefiting them and the team? How have you guys gotten that sort of buy-in to where they kind of accept that and it's working for you guys?
Well, I think it comes from, them being connected in the meeting room, understanding those guys are playing at a high level, how playing multiple guys makes us better later in the football game and throughout the course of the season. And when teammates recognize that guys are ready to play, they understand that they've earned the right to go out there and play. And at the end of the day, it's made our defensive line and our defensive unit stronger.
Josh, I guess pretty much anytime you play an SEC team, you're going to see some guys up front that give you problems. But with Walker for Kentucky, how many problems does that guy present with sort of his size and athleticism?
Yeah, your original statement is true. Like, the difference in this league and everywhere else around the country. You're going to see elite players with great physical traits and athleticism. He's a guy that is a dominant player. As they move him around in his front, he's able to play within their scheme extremely well. Uses his hands. He's physical. He's active, disruptive. He's a really good football player. But their D-line in general, has great size and plays extremely well with pad level.
They do, and that's the offensive line has a challenge in front of them this week. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say that. They got to keep Nico upright. They just do, and they got to open holes up early in this game.
What have you seen from Kentucky's second and third level with guys like Derek Jackson when it comes to impacting your all's pass game?
Yeah, they got length, athleticism. They'll play multiple fronts, 3, 4 down, drop 8 at time. They play with great discipline, pattern reading and causing issues with windows. And, we got to do a great job of recognizing their rotations, feeling the underneath coverage and, getting to the right spot at the right time with the ball.
Thank you.
They're also banged up. I think they got 2
Yeah.
DBs out. Their 2 starting linebackers are out. They're beat up, man. They're beat up. Let's we're not going to do the whole full gambling pick. Just give us your hot picks. We won't pull it up and go through it slow. Just give us kind of your hot takes, what you're rolling with this week for the we don't condone gambling segment of the day.
Yeah, I like dogs this week. I like Arkansas and the points at home against Ole Miss, getting 7. I like Illinois +3 at home versus Minnesota. I like South Carolina. I like them just on the straight upset. I don't know why. I don't know. I think they finally poked through. They've been really, really close to upsetting a couple teams at home. I think they kind of pulled that one off, and I think Texas A&M's in a little bit of a hangover after week 1. One upset I'm not taking, though, is Florida over Georgia. I think Georgia's defense will give a young quarterback a lot of trouble in that game. But that's kind of it. Just those straight upsets right there. I mean, Tennessee line is ballooned all the way up to what, 16, 17 and a half right now, something like that. They should cover that number. They should 110% cover that number, no problem. I think Louisville covers 10 and a half versus Clemson too.
I didn't even see that the line on the Tennessee game had shot up to 16 and a half. I think what it opened 15 and a half, 16, somewhere around in there.
Yeah, some books 14, some 15. So, yeah, 2 touchdowns and a field goal right now. I just have a hard time believing, look, if Tennessee is going to win by multiple scores, they're going to win by 4 scores, in my opinion, in this game. So, yeah. I think
Tennessee dominates. I think the Neyland impact is going to be too much. I think Neyland's going to be rocking. I don't know how much the team actually leaned into the Gerald Mincy comments, if they took it personally. They saw it. It's 2024. Everything that gets said, they see it. I don't know if they really care or if they did take it to heart and they have something to prove. Either way, a little extra motivation, right? And then it's like the comments from the Alabama commentator saying that we pop in crowd noise, and Heupel sits in front of the media and says, did you guys hear this? You've been challenged. Now it's time to it's like, do you really need to give us anything else to have us roll into Neyland Stadium for a night game that's dark mode, full of piss and vinegar? Because that's what you're going to get. And I think the Neyland environment is going to play such a factor in this game early. I agree with what you said earlier. Start fast and actually finish it. Put it in the end zone. If Tennessee gets the football, goes down and scores, Neyland's going to be rocking, and it will not stop rocking until the clock hits 0. I think that is such a factor in this game, on top of just the fact that Kentucky's just not very good. We've rattled off numbers and stats all week long. I don't think they know who their quarterback is. I don't think Brock Vandagriff, if it's him, I don't think he has confidence. And then if you're rotating and playing Wimsatt and then bringing in Vandagriff, I don't think either guy's going to get confidence. And like I said earlier, when you mentioned that they're going to draw up some things for Wimsatt, if that's the guy that's going to beat Tennessee in a shootout, bring it on, sign me up. I'm not worried about a running quarterback. I'm not running about a mobile quarterback. I get it. History tells us that mobile quarterbacks give Tennessee fits. Not this year. We played every mobile quarterback in the freaking conference. Freaking Alabama, are you kidding me? Jalen Milroe, he didn't do nothing with his feet. I'm not scared of a mobile quarterback because this defense is elite. And I think the defense, man, I was thinking like 2-3 scores, and then I was like thinking maybe Kentucky scores 14, 13, 10. I'm like, no, I just don't see that. This team has not given up more than 19 points all year.
Yep.
Tennessee 31, Kentucky 6. I think it's a beatdown, 31-6.
Yeah. I was going 42-9 is where I was at. So 3 field goals is kind of what I'm thinking for Kentucky. And that's, like you said, that's kind of being liberal, to be honest. I expect a shutout from this defense. So, yeah, I think they get a little bit of yardage late, though. Get a couple field goals through late in the game, maybe 2 field goals late in the game. And, yeah, we roll 42-9.
I didn't have the confidence. I wanted to give Tennessee more points, but I didn't have the confidence. I'm glad you have the confidence. I hope. I need to see it, right? Like I've seen little
baby. You just have to solve the first half. That's it. Yeah. They do that, they'll put that up. Because they've been putting 20 up in the second half, right? So you're on pace for 40 if you play the first half.
I like it. Guys, put your predictions in the comment section if you're watching on the rewatch. Smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the Talkin VAWLS merchandise. We got brand new merch that we just rolled out. State Pride 2.0. We got the state outline and the TriStar blended together with the Talkin VAWLS network below it. You can pick whatever style shirt you want, and then you can change the color. You can get whatever color you want. We got the God Bless and Go Vols Nate Pruitt special, and then all the favorites are there. VWO. We've got just straight up Talkin VAWLS Network shirts. We've got the Chosen One. I don't know who the Chosen One is or what this cultivate's all about, but you can rep that if you want. Talkin VAWLS letters. We got Rivalry shirts for Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky. If you want it to be a little bit more offensive, you got that option. If you want it to just say beat Florida, we've got that option. Go check it out, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is also in the description below, as well as a link as to where you can join the channel and help support us. Why are they talking politics? Oh my gosh.
Because I said being liberal. It's not really. He was just poking at me. It was funny. Yeah.
Not like the other day. I got roasted for letting Coach Rice have his moment to yell something in the screen and it didn't go well. We're not here to talk politics. We're here to talk Vols, and we're here to create love and create matches in the chat. Be nice to each other. Be nice to each other. That's going to do it, man. We appreciate you guys. Game day breakdown coming later today, so be looking for that. Tomorrow, we're live an hour before kickoff where you guys get to come on the show, and then we'll be live immediately following the game. Myself, Coach Jay, Dustin, and good old Nate Pruitt is going to be in the house. Dauber will be at the game, but we will have you covered immediately after the win. That's right, the win over Kentucky. But that is going to do it for Coach Jay. My name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Mark Stoops is 2-9 against this team, and to walk around this place before the game, I was disgusted. The smugness of those guys just walking around like, we're going to walk in here, we're going to kick your ass, and you can't do anything about it. And it made me sick. And you know what? They did it. They still did it. What the hell? Can we just beat this team? I know that Mark Stoops has done a lot of good things. This is his one really bad thing. The stupid stat about beating teams with a winning record and taking the next step and blah, blah. Just freaking beat Tennessee. Please, can we just stop losing to this stupid team with that stupid orange color, their stupid